Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to Effing with the Ineffable.
Welcome.
I'm Zoe,
I'm Smokey Pigleton.
aka Will,
Go Pack Go.
wearing his Packers jersey.
Representing Charles Woodson.
The Packers won last night, I think.
The last great epic of Packer history.
So they get to go to the playoffs, I guess.
Yeah, they have a first round bye.
Which is a good thing.
Yes, it is a good thing.
It's
a great thing.
Okay, isn't there like a...
Traditionally, people who have teams that have a first round bye have a 75% chance of winning in their next game because the other teams are fighting for their lives next weekend, beating themselves up, getting COVID, getting drunk in new towns, meeting, crazy girls and stuff, wearing themselves out, and the Packers are sitting at home saying prayers, getting prepared.
See, okay, I would think the opposite. Like, first of all, there's like momentum, right? And so like if you
if
you have momentum going into your game and then you take a break,
rolling. You don't want to have to stop and then get restarted.
Get out of your groove.
And
also, like, I would think that if you have a week off, you're more likely to go out and, like, party and do crazy things because you're not trying to,
you don't have a week off. You have a week of practice.
I guess, yeah. Anyway.
But it's practice that isn't beating the heck out of you. It's not like car wreck, which is...
an actual game.
Every game is like being in a car wreck.
Yeah.
You're getting pounded.
Well, I know literally nothing about football. I mean, I was in band in high school, so I saw lots of football games from the sidelines.
Well, there you go.
But
what more do you need to know? It's exciting.
I still don't really understand all the rules. I know you're supposed to go 10 yards. You have 4 chances to go 10 yards or something.
That's correct.
But you're trying to get the ball all the way down in the end zone. I know that. I don't know all the other rules, but it really doesn't. We don't need to talk about that. Good. Okay, today
We'll have a different co-host when we do the football segments.
Please. If Mom ever wants to be on, she could talk about football.
She's a football fan.
Yeah. Between the two of them, they have enough Packers jerseys to clothe our entire family, which is like 11 plus.
We can probably name most of the numbers, although they're running new guys in all the time. Who was this Daphne who scored a touchdown yesterday? Never heard of him before last week, and now all of a sudden he's scoring touchdowns this week. And where was Corey Dillon? Or A.J. Dillon? Corey Dillon. Who's Corey Dillon?
I don't know.
A.J.
I don't know
Dillon.
Any of these people.
All right, never mind.
I know Aaron Rodgers.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think we're probably going to edit all this out.
I don't know. Maybe.
We probably should.
Well, we might look weird right now. I'm not even sure how this is going to look because we decided to try something new today just for fun on the last day that we're going to be here together in person before we go back to the DC area. We're going to take the political compass test just for funsies. And we're going to see... I think we should try to take it together and, like, try to come to an agreement. So, like, for each question, there's going to be strongly disagree, agree, and strongly agree. We should try to, like, come to some sort of compromise on everyone.
Strongly disagree, agree, or strongly agree. Okay.
Yeah.
So
if we have disagreement, we'll try to meet in the middle or argue it out, but we'll figure it out.
We have to come to a consensus?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I thought the political compass was for... Okay, it's not it's often an individual thing. Yeah. But you and I...
I mean, we could just...
We can say individually how we feel, and then we can talk about... Okay.
Because if we both take it, it's just going to take a long time.
All right.
But let's try to, like, come to an agreement and see kind of where we are as a team on the political compass at the end of this.
All right.
So, let's see... How do I do it? Alt-tab? I don't want to do something that's going to... Let's see. I think if I just go here...
Yeah, there we go.
I think it should still be working.
So the test is up there.
Okay, so this isn't a survey, and these aren't questions. They're propositions.
All right.
So the first page is about how you see the country and the world. So, if economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. How do you feel about that?
I would somewhat disagree.
I strongly disagree with that. I think that, first of all, I should say, this is
the interests of transnational corporations is going to be primarily serving humanity.
Yeah. Because those are made up of humans, first of all.
Right.
And also, like, the more profit somebody makes, the more that they're putting out into the economy, the more that they're able to hire other people and create new goods and services. All of that benefits humanity. But before, I guess I should back up just a minute. This is from the politicalcompass.org/test. I know that all the people from the Daily Wire.
Did we get their approval to use it?
No, but I know all the people from the Daily Wire filmed themselves taking this test, and it was fairly entertaining. It was kind of funny because what's his name? Matt Walsh. You know Matt Walsh?
No.
He's like a Catholic guy who works for the Daily Wire now. Anyway, he tried to answer every question so that he would be like authoritarian right, basically, like a fascist. And he still didn't even he got like on that side, but not all the way. And he's like, where did I fail? And so he like tried to go in with to get a certain outcome, but we're just going to try to answer it the way that we really feel. But I'll probably link to those if you want to see some of the Daily Wire people taking the test. But yeah, they definitely made the point that like a lot of the way that these questions are written is from like a very kind of leftist point of view.
Right, because this is not a legitimate phrasing of this question.
Of course.
It should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of
which means that those two things are opposed.
Right.
Yeah.
Transnational corporations, when they prosper, that will serve humanity better.
So we just have to go into this test knowing that it has an agenda, and it's just we're still gonna just do it for fun and do the best we can. So let's say strongly disagree for that. Okay.
I'll accept that.
Okay. I'd always support my country whether it was right or wrong. Disagree or strongly disagree? I think strongly disagree. Okay, me too. And I don't think we have to have too much discussion if we both
I love
agree
my country. I hope my country is right. I want to correct my country, but I'm not gonna. I hope I don't. If somehow we become either completely socialist or completely fascist. That I'm not like, oh, hey, it's cool.
Yeah.
America number one. Uber alles.
Yeah, I agree with America because I love its founding documents. I love its history, but I'm not.
And it's conceived in liberty.
Yeah, it's because of the principles it stands behind that I love it. If it changes those principles, I'm not going to love it anymore. Right. Okay. So if no one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. I mean, I agree with that somewhat, but also people are proud of things all the time that they're not able to choose.
Right. I'm proud of the Packers. I don't get to decide how well they play, where they play, who plays for them, who's assigned what number, what plays they call.
It depends on...
Nevertheless, I identify with them. I admire them, and I feel a certain, affection for them.
It depends
so I am proud of it.
It depends on why you're proud of it. If you're proud of it because you're like, well, I'm born in America, so because I was born here, it's the best, then it's silly. But if you're proud of it because it makes good choices conceived in liberty for the good of people and tries to...
and I probably am biased. But I still do believe that America is the best country that's ever existed on the face of the earth.
So should we say agree for that?
That
that's foolish
to be proud of it? Yeah.
I mean, it's foolish.
It's somewhat foolish. But I don't mind being a fool for America.
Okay, our race has many superior qualities compared with other races.
What?
Our race, meaning like the white race, because we're white. The thing is, I disagree with the premise that like qualities apply to people to races broadly.
Right.
I don't agree with that. So I guess technically I have to strongly disagree. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races.
Is it?
I disagree with the premise.
Yeah.
Let's just say strongly disagree.
Okay.
Okay, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't agree with that.
Not necessarily so.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, like, yeah, I don't agree. Should we say disagree or strongly disagree?
That's like saying, oh, well, the devil is trying to corrupt these other people, and so I don't like those people, so the devil is my friend.
Well, like, a political example would be like...
Friend of the devil is not a friend of mine. Regardless of what the Grateful Dead said.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, if you think about socialism is usually considered, like, the political enemy of libertarianism. But I guess, so, like, Nazis and socialists aren't really friends either. So does that make Nazis my friend? Like, obviously not. No. So I'm going to say disagree or strongly disagree.
I'd say strongly disagree.
Okay. Military action...
has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
My relationship with any other individual is not predicated on their relationship
with anyone else. Yeah, military.
Like sometimes my children fight among themselves.
Yeah,
I love them all.
Not equally, but you love them all.
I try to love them all equally.
I'm just kidding. Okay, military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Well, I mean. International law, like, who sets that? Like, what's
right.
Like, what is
who
it?
Has the
Are
authority,
those just?
Who has the authority to do international law? Is it like we talking United Nations?
Yeah, which I think should be abolished, or at least the U.S. should pull out of it. So I guess I agree that it's sometimes justified in the sense that
you think the United.
Okay, any action that goes against the law is sometimes justified if the law is not just.
That's right.
So yes, I agree with that because I think inherent to this question is sometimes laws are not just.
Yeah.
So strongly agree or agree?
I would strongly.
All right. There's now
we might as well take a hard stance
on everything, I guess. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. This is like what we were talking about with fake news.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know that it's worrying. Yeah. I don't worry about it. I recognize that it's true, and it makes you consider the source.
Yeah.
It always you have to consider the source. Now, people on TV who tell you one thing or another, they may or may not be credible.
I mean, if you think of something like the Babylon Bee or the Onion, those are obviously like news mixed with entertainment. I mean, how much of that is actually news? Not really, although the Babylon Bee will do more like newsy kind of things.
The Onion's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, it's not worrying, it's fun. Like, if the thing is...
Saturday Night Live. You watch Saturday Night Live?
Of course.
Do you watch it for
the
news? Do you watch it to really become informed?
You might be mistaken if you're doing that. Yeah. So I think that I don't think it's worrying. I think it can be a good thing, but you have to take everything with a grain of salt, and you have to question the source and try to understand where
the only worry is that there's a lot of naive people who just if they hear it on TV, it must be true.
But guess what? You can't fix naive people.
That's
you can't
right.
fix idiots. You can't fix exactly. So it's like we can't just tailor the world.
I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say strongly disagree.
It's not a worrying.
Okay.
It's happening, but I don't worry about it.
So let's go to the next page, which these next questions, let me just make sure that this is, okay, it's still going.
Looks like we're still on.
Okay, so the economy. We're talking attitudes here, not the FTSE index. I don't know what that even means.
I don't know either.
Should we Google it or just ignore it?
Just
okay, people are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. that's true.
It's true in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ultimately, people are divided more by class. It's interesting because I was thinking of that this morning.
Poor people all over the world are have more similarities than the poor and the rich within the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So should we say?
And a lot of times it seems like clothes make the man. It's interesting because if you dress in a certain way, it kind of you're kind of making it a class distinction, class identification, and a lot of times people look at that and they say, oh, you look at Grandpa, riding his bike in his old tore up flannel shirt, and you don't think, oh, this guy's a millionaire. You think, oh, this guy's a hobo.
But
poor fella.
There's a story that like one of my mom's relatives saw my grandpa riding around and was like, I feel bad for that man because he looks like he's poor, although he's way richer than all of us.
And then her father said, that guy's got more money than we do.
Yeah, so don't feel bad for him. But
he just doesn't spend it in a way that we do.
Well, it's interesting because I was thinking about how you're wearing your jersey right now, but if you see, like, Adam Sandler, he's super rich, but all he wears are, like, basketball shorts and jerseys and stuff. Because I guess once you're really rich, you don't have to dress to impress anybody.
You don't have to impress anybody.
So, anyway.
But I do, and obviously class doesn't have just to do with how you dress.
Yeah.
A lot of times people judge your class
based
initially by your dress.
Outward appearance.
First impression is that.
So let's say strongly agree, I guess.
Yeah.
Or agree or strongly?
Let's go with either strongly agree or strongly disagree on everything.
We hadn't agreed on the last one, but we'll try to do strongly from now on. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. I don't want them controlling either of those things.
Either, right.
So
I don't want them messing with
so I don't know how to answer that. It's not more important. So strongly disagree?
Yeah.
Because it's not. Neither of those are important for the government to do.
For the government to mess with.
Okay, because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect. Like that's the assumption of the question.
There we go.
Corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment. They require regulation. Strongly disagree. We don't even need to discuss it. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need is fundamentally a good idea. We were just talking about that in one of the other episodes. I mean, of course it's like fundamentally a good idea if you ignore like human nature. And if everybody,
which is a big thing to ignore.
And if everybody in that group cares about each other like a family.
That's interesting. Because last night I was reading a thing that said, a lot of people say anarchy is only a good idea if everybody is an angel.
Exactly.
But other people say anarchy is the only good idea because there are no angels and because you don't want to invest power in anybody.
In a corrupt person.
In anybody.
Yeah.
So because the government is made of non-angelic beings, you don't want the government to have that kind of power either. Yeah. So that's an argument both for, depending on which way you look at it, it's both for and against anarchy.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it in terms of no governmental employees are worthy of that investment of power, then you'd have to say, well, that argues in favor of anarchy. If you say people need to be contained because they're wicked, then you say, oh, we need a state.
Yeah. So let's say for this,
but
because
that had nothing to do.
Yeah, I know. Because they're talking about like economic and governmental policy. Let's say strongly disagree.
Yes. Because
I don't want that to be political philosophy. The freer the market, the freer the people. Strongly agree.
Strongly agree with that.
Because the freer you are to make voluntary transactions, the better.
That's free.
Okay.
Free is free.
It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. No. If somebody's
It's-
able to sell water
It's
and
a sad
people
reflection on how dumb some
this
people can
question
be.
is, yeah. Strongly disagree. Land shouldn't
Who
be.
was it that? Oh, you weren't there. But, yeah, we were talking with a guy, and he said that his dad came over from Greece, and his dad just could not wrap his head around the idea that there is bottled water, and that people would pay as much for water as they do.
Some people only drink bottled water
for gasoline. They pay more for water than they do for gasoline. And it's like,
yeah,
he had a stroke.
Okay, land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. It's funny that this question is funny because one of my sisters is constantly saying, how can anyone own like the forest or the creek or the river or whatever?
Well, apparently we don't in actuality, because there's constant taxes. So apparently the government owns all the land.
They're loaning it to us.
They're just allowing us the use.
They're renting it to us.
They're renting it to us, and so we get to develop it. We get to with regulations. There's you want to buy some swampland. You want to drain it. You're not going to be able to get that kind of freedom to use your property as you will. You don't always have your mineral rights, but shouldn't be a commodity. False. Strongly disagree.
Yeah, I think when you mix your labor with the land, it becomes yours. Wasn't that John Locke or somebody? I don't know. There's a famous theory of property that when you mix your labor with the elements, basically, it becomes your property. Okay. It's regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. That inherent to that question is that people can do that, which I disagree with.
Is it regrettable that happens?
No. People can make their money however they want.
Right.
But I don't think anyone who has a lot of money...
If there's a market for that, then obviously, there's going to be somebody who's going to be willing to fulfill it. Is it...
People make money...
People who are day traders?
Yeah.
That's a use of their resources. That's like saying it's regrettable that, people are prostitutes. I think that's probably, in a way, that's probably true.
But should they be free to do so? Yes.
It might be regrettable, but it's not, it's not terrible.
There's lots of people who make money in ways that I wouldn't personally choose, but they should be free to do it. As long as they're not hurting anyone else.
Professional gamblers, I don't see any honor and nobility in that.
Yeah.
But, people who want to do it, that's fine.
I think people who are professional politicians who make their fortunes being politicians...
That's regrettable.
That's regrettable, but if people are willing to pay them to do that, then...
But Bernie Sanders hasn't done an honest day's work in 60 years, and yet he's a millionaire.
And the Clintons...
And has 3 homes.
Yeah, and Joe Biden, all of them. Okay, protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade.
And it's not just Democrats.
Oh, of course.
To be clear.
Of course.
We've only named...
Yes.
Well, I guess Bernie Sanders isn't officially a Democrat.
He's an independent. Trump's not a good example of that because he made his money through other means. But, I don't know, the whole Bush dynasty, I guess they're also, somewhat business people, ranchers or something, right? I don't know.
And it's like the Kardashians. Kardashians, how did they make their money? By becoming famous.
Yeah.
By, being celebrities.
There's lots of people
making
like
a sex tape, getting onto the national radar, and parlaying that into some kind of, media empire.
Okay, protectionism is sometimes necessary.
You think I should make a sex tape?
No. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. I mean, protectionism meaning
false.
Tariffs and stuff?
Strongly disagree.
Okay. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders.
That is
The
really.
only? I mean, that's the primary one.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
If companies, here's the thing: companies are
like
made up of
like saying if you're gonna
like protecting the environment or something. I'm assuming that's what they mean.
Okay,
But-
like environmental concerns,
but
or
here-
just in concerns of are you selling are you selling tobacco?
Are you selling tainted
is it-
baby formula?
Yeah, are you defrauding people?
Yeah, like
I think it's important to not perpetrate frauds.
yeah, and not. I mean,
so I wouldn't say it's the only social responsibility.
yeah,
Social responsibility.
but it is the primary
It is the
responsibility.
primary responsibility.
So should we say agree? Like not strongly
The
disagree?
only is, I guess I should say strongly.
But
agree.
here's
Let's
another
say strongly agree.
here's another like point I want to make. If like companies are made up of people, so if the people who make up that company have other responsibilities that they voluntarily want to take on, of course they should do that. But they shouldn't be forced to take on responsibility that they don't care about, I guess.
Right.
If a company wants to go green and go carbon neutral and be environmentally friendly, they should be allowed to do so, obviously.
And
but
if
the
they
government,
can use that as a selling point.
yeah, but the government shouldn't force you to do that. So I guess strongly agree, even though I would say more agree with that. But the rich are too highly taxed. Taxes are theft, so yeah, everyone's too highly taxed.
Too highly taxed.
Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Yes, medical care is a product that you're buying.
Yeah.
People with more money should be able to buy
And
whatever
if you
they
want to
want.
spend your money, I'd rather spend my money on cigarettes and beer than on health care. So I get the fruits of that.
Yeah, I'd rather
You
spend
know?
it on things that are important to me rather than medical care. So I'd rather have the base minimum of medical insurance and then be able to spend my money on whatever else I want.
Let's not even get into
Okay.
insurance today.
Okay, let's not. Governments should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Oh, Lord. I mean, mislead, like,
Like defraud?
I guess. Only
Is
if you're
it the
hurting
is it
someone.
the
Only if they're hurting
government's
someone.
business to do that?
Like only if they're only if they're like the government should only penalize people who are infringing on the rights of other people. Is it
Like,
infringing
say-
on their rights?
Like say, should the government say, hey, cigarette companies, you can't advertise that 4 out of 5 doctors recommend Chesterfields?
Yeah.
Is that the government's business? Not really. No.
Yeah, so I guess
probably not.
disagree.
Should that be Consumer Reports business? Yeah.
Yeah, private entities should be able to
a
do that.
private company that says, hey, they're lying to you?
Yeah.
What they're trying to sell you is a bunch of ooh-ah.
I mean, like the FDA and all those like regulatory commissions should be privatized because I'm sure they could do a
Exactly.
better job.
Yeah.
A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. This is
It's an interesting question,
Yeah.
but I don't believe it.
yeah, so strongly disagree.
How does anybody create monopoly?
Usually through regulation that's tamping down on
Right.
competition.
Because otherwise, there's always competition available.
Yeah.
If not multinational, then at least local.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to, if you say, hey, Amazon, I don't like
Yeah.
their business, the way
Anything. Their
the way
ethics,
they do
whatever.
things. I don't like the way they pay their employees. I'm not going to buy from them. I'm going to go to Walmart instead. Well, then you're an idiot. But it's perfectly within your rights.
Yeah, of course. We have people in our family who are like that, and that's their prerogative. And that's fine. So let's see. The next page is about personal social values. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. I agree with that because it is infringing on the right of the unborn child, their right to life. But
And I disagree with it.
yeah,
Because it's a woman's body, and the contents of her body should be within her sphere of liberty.
let's not argue about abortion today because that's like an entire episode.
Yeah,
but-
that's it. and I think we're going to disagree. I hate that abortions happen.
Yeah.
I wish that it wouldn't happen.
We're both pro-life.
I believe that it's killing babies.
Yeah, we're both pro-life.
And that it's a crying shame and that it's a sin against God. However, I agree with people's right to sin.
This is my like probably the political stance that I feel most strongly about. So can we say agree just to
We can.
I would say strongly agree. My dad would say disagree. Can we meet in the middle and say I wish there was a neutral option, honestly, for a lot of these, but there's not.
Where we could say
I'm not going to take a stance one way or another.
No low contender ray.
All right, we'll talk about that more in another episode. All authority should be questioned. Strongly agree.
True. Yeah, absolutely.
An eye for an eye.
They should be interrogated.
An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
No.
My husband would say agree. I disagree.
I disagree.
I think that like punishment should be proportional, but I don't think they need to be like exact. So disagree or strongly disagree? I don't know.
Strongly disagree.
Okay. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. This is what we were talking about yesterday. Strongly agree. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory.
Strongly agree.
Strongly agree. A lot of these things we've talked about before. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind.
Strongly disagree. What does that mean?
What does that mean? That's just that's a
kind.
racist.
Stay on your side of the tracks.
They're trying to see if we're racist with that question.
Eskimos.
That's just silly.
You crazy Eskimo folk.
Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Strongly disagree. You never have to spank your children. Sometimes
have to spank. Yeah.
Sometimes spanking is okay. I personally have never spanked my kids, but I don't think it's. I'm just gonna say strongly disagree. You never have to.
The problem with spanking is always that it seems to muddle the charitable correction.
Yeah.
With a enraged frustration.
The only time that spanking is okay, in my view, is when you are trying to show your child that the consequence of the action that they're taking is to get hurt.
Really severe.
Like if your child is running into the street and is possibly going to get hit by a car, give them a spanking, shows them running into the street will hurt you. The spanking is less than the actual getting hit by a car.
Right.
But I don't agree that you ever have to. That's right. Okay. It's natural for children to keep secrets from their parents.
Natural.
Yes. Yeah. But it's wrong, but it's natural. Strongly agree.
Yeah.
Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Strongly agree.
Yes.
The prime function of schooling
Possessing fentanyl.
Anything
is fine. Go ahead.
Anything that's not hurting somebody else.
If you want to inject Drano into your eyeballs,
go for it. The prime function.
You can have mine.
The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. Strongly disagree.
Right.
But then again, I think that
it's a good function.
If you have a public school, that probably should be the primary function. But public schools shouldn't exist. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Obviously disagree. Obviously, that's just obvious.
You get it.
The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Strongly disagree. There are no. I mean, that's what schools want to teach kids. Yeah. But I disagree.
It's a good thing to learn. To learn obedience to legitimate authorities when they're in the right.
The most important thing for children to learn is how to be a saint.
That's true. How to get to heaven.
There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. Disagree. There are people who sacrifice humans.
Yeah, there's some.
There are people who, scalp their opponents. Some people in our ancestral history, by the way. And no,
we're savages.
I'm saying there are people who, if you go back far enough in both of our ancestral lines, you will find people who were part of cultures that did things that I would strongly disagree with. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity
But what did it say?
Actually, this is actually
said
bothering me.
culture.
There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. I'm actually stuck on this one because, like, I don't think that you can say all these people. It gets back to like the racial, like superior racial characteristics. It's like you can't. There are people who did actions as a general culture who did things that are reprehensible. But are those people themselves savage? Any more savage than the rest of us? It's complicated. It's a complicated one.
The quality of civilization and savagery is, there's degrees of that in different aspects.
I don't like generalizing people by culture or race or anything. I think people should be viewed as individuals. So there are no savage. Yeah. There are only different cultures. Yeah, I guess I agree, actually, because it's not the people that are savage and civilized, it's the culture. But I don't like the phrasing is like, hey man, like relativism, there's just differences. It's not that those differences are good or bad.
Right.
Like that's the implication in it, which I don't agree with that.
Cannibalism is just an alternative lifestyle.
Who are you to judge that cannibalism is wrong?
Right.
So I'm gonna say agree, but not. If we say agree, then they're gonna think we're relativists. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The viewers know what our points are, and we do too. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support, like financial support or like emotional support. I don't think
approval?
no one should be.
I approve of you sitting there and starving to death.
Yeah, me too, but I don't want to financially support you.
But societies, I think they're talking about welfare.
Yeah, so disagree.
Yeah.
Wait. Should not expect. Yeah, strongly agree. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. This is...
To a certain extent.
Well, that's problem avoidance, though. I mean, dwelling on your problems forever isn't a good thing. Like, at some point, you gotta just get up and get on with your life. But also, just avoiding your issues isn't good.
Right. See, and these don't go into enough
I know. They're just...
I'd say when you're troubled by things that are beyond your control, it's better not to fret about it, but keep busy with more cheerful
so let's say,
and controllable
Let's say
things.
Strongly agree.
Yeah.
But,
But wait now.
But when you're troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things.
No, I disagree. You should deal with your problems. You should think about them. If they're manageable problems, you ought to deal with them. Yeah.
Okay, then we'll disagree. I mean, I agree in some instances, and I disagree in some instances.
It depends on if
they're in your control.
You have to decide. Yeah, you have to say the serenity prayer.
I was just thinking
is this, do I need the serenity to accept things I cannot change? Yes. Do I need the courage to change things I can? Yes.
Yeah. And the wisdom to know the difference.
It depends. Yeah, it depends on the differences there.
Yeah. So I wish there was a neutral, but first-generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. Disagree.
Yeah.
If they want to integrate, they can integrate. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. Yeah.
That's probably true.
Yeah, because like once again, we talked about it before, but making money, putting that out, and providing goods and services is how you make money, by the way.
The only way they get to be successful is by being in the marketplace and providing a good that somebody believes is a good.
Is worth paying for.
Now, at some point, people may say, well, we've kind of changed our mind. We don't think that's good anymore. I.e. tobacco, i.e., whatever.
At one point, prohibition.
Lead-based gasoline.
Yeah.
We say, even though that was successful for a long time, I don't want to invest in telegraph corporations anymore.
Yeah.
They were very successful at one time.
Sure. Like we were just talking about, my daughter was watching something on TV, and she was asking, like, why don't they have cars and roads and stuff?
Right.
She was watching you play Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
And she was asking, like, why don't they have...
Why didn't they just load that stuff in a truck?
Yeah, and it's like, you know, there used to be a time when, like, trains were the way that people got across the country. Now, how often do people take trains?
Even before that, there weren't even trains.
Exactly. So, of course, yeah, okay, we're getting way off topic here. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. Sure. Strongly agree.
Yeah. That's not the government's business. That smacks of propaganda.
Okay, we're only halfway through.
Really? Wow.
No,
okay.
we gotta get going.
All right,
here.
Let's cook.
Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Agree.
Strongly agree.
A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system.
Disagree.
Advantage of a one-party state? I mean, that's a disadvantage.
Right.
So I don't understand. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Oh my God, no. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. I disagree. I disagree with the death penalty. What do you think?
Because you don't believe that the government is capable of making just decisions about that all the time. Sometimes they do.
Yeah, I'm pro-life from...
Probably most of the time.
I'm pro-life from natural conception to natural death. I don't think that we should ever take the life of somebody else, even when they deserve it. I think that's God's decision, not ours.
I would agree.
Let's just say disagree then.
Okay.
I mean, if you're saying agree and I'm saying strongly disagree.
You've heard Grandpa's case about this, right?
No.
Grandpa says, okay, let's say some maniac comes in here and kills me tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Just in cold blood. Kills me.
Yeah.
You know, no reason, no basis, just out of sheer evil heartedness.
Okay.
That person is captured, put on trial, and sent to prison forever.
Yeah.
They then come and they say, Zoe, Smokey Pegleton's murderer is now in this prison, and we expect you to pay for his support.
I mean, that's
is that just?
Of course, I have a problem with paying for. First of all, I think prisons should be way less nice than they are. I think prison should be like we were talking about in Catch Me If You Can. If you've ever seen that movie, he goes to prison I think in France, and it's literally like dirt floor, like no window. He gets like super sick. He's lost like half his body weight because they're not feeding him. That's what prison should be. Prison should be like you're not there to be housed humanely.
Punishment.
It's punishment. But I still don't think we have the right to take somebody's life, even when they deserve it. And of course, people deserve the death penalty.
Some people deserve it.
Yes, some people deserve it,
but I don't believe it should be an option.
I don't think it should be an option
because you don't believe that the government can exercise that option.
Both 2 reasons. First of all, I don't want to give the government that power, and second of all, because only God has the right to say. Okay. Anyway,
but render unto Caesar. Caesar has the right to decide what's best for the civil society.
I don't think they should have that power. That's just my. I mean, I'm maybe.
I think people of good faith can disagree on this.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. Disagree. that phrasing is insane.
So they're saying there ought to be
like a pecking order, a hierarchy,
chains of command, chains of authority.
No, only if that happens naturally. Like we have to.
There's some situations where that is the procedure. There's other situations where it's not. Yeah. So it doesn't have to.
Yeah. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. I mean,
disagree.
I mean, I would agree, but I don't really care. I don't understand what that has to do with.
Shouldn't be considered art at all. I disagree. It should be considered. Anything that you say is art is art.
I guess.
Whether
yeah.
it's crap art and I say,
Whether I like it or not doesn't matter.
you can have mine. Go ahead.
In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation.
Now that's what you were saying.
I think both things are important, but for serious cases where people are like,
how do you
sociopathic
rehabilitate if you throw somebody into a prison where there's dirt floors and no windows and they lose half their weight?
I'm saying people who are like sociopathic murderers. I think that for people like that, serious cases, then no, they shouldn't be rehabilitated. Those people are going to be in prison forever. For people who go to prison because they're doing something that possibly could be...
What if that person requests the death penalty? Rather than live in a cage for the rest of my life, I wish you would just...
Suicide is still wrong, and then you're just enabling suicide.
Why is suicide wrong?
Morally, it's wrong. Governmentally, you should be able to do it.
Whose life is it? So you should be able to.
Whose life is it? But oh my God, this is gonna be our longest episode yet.
Should the government interfere with somebody's right to death?
No, but they shouldn't enable it.
Okay.
If they want to hang themselves if they want to Epstein themselves in their jail cell, just kidding, by the way.
Just have Hillary Clinton visit them.
I'm kidding.
What? No.
Don't come after us, please, Clintons. Don't come after us. If you want to hang yourself in your jail cell...
That was a joke. I don't think Hillary had anything to do with it.
She's never done a thing wrong in her life.
Pretty sure Bill did that all on his... No! What?
No! The Clintons are pure, spotless, sinless human beings. Anyway.
Don't hurt us.
If you want to hang yourself in your jail cell, that you should be legally allowed to do that. But the government should not help you to do something wrong.
So the government shouldn't set up a gallows and say, hey, if you want to...
I mean...
But they shouldn't...
Let's talk about this.
They shouldn't interfere. If you want to hang yourself, they should say, okay, go ahead.
Yes, I agree.
Hang away.
Yeah, it's your right to life if you want to take that from me.
So anyway, we kind of got off. Is punishment more important than rehabilitation?
I think this question's too complicated, but I think that they're both important. So I'm going to say disagree.
Okay. I strongly disagree as well.
Okay.
I don't think it's more important than rehabilitation.
Yeah. It's a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals. Yes. Some criminals are never going to be rehabilitated. They're just going to be... They're just sociopaths who are going to...
Who gets to decide who's rehabilitatable?
Well, that's a different question. That's a different question.
That's like deciding who should be killed.
Yes.
Who should be put to death.
But of course, there are some people who are, and we might not ever be able to know that.
It's a waste of time, but we can't always know who that is.
Exactly.
And so, do we have?
We should treat all of them like they are rehabilitatable, I guess.
The presumption needs to be this person is a child of God and is made in the image and likeness of God and has the
capacity to be better. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist.
To who?
Disagree.
I strongly disagree. Nobody's more important than anybody else.
There's
regardless of the rules.
There's room for all different kinds of people. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. What does that mean? No. Disagree. Like homemaking meaning like raising your children, or homemaking meaning
you get to decide
like,
what their most important role is? You get to decide what gives their life meaning and value? No.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm married to someone whose first duty is to be a homemaker, and I honor that about her, and I support that, and that's awesome. But I would certainly not object to her having any kind of career and allowing me to retire and work in the backyard. That's okay.
And she does have a career, but it's more of a subservient career to her homemaking and child rearing. I mean, that's wouldn't you say that? She doesn't place it above.
It's secondary.
Yeah. Subservient meaning serving her primary job, which is homemaking and childbearing.
Okay, but subservient sounds like she's like some kind of.
She's not subservient to you. She's her position as a career person is subservient.
Wanted to make that clear because she is the boss, and when she watches
That's
this,
definitely true.
she
She's
needs
definitely
to
the
know
boss.
that I did not try to usurp her power.
That we're not arguing about that because she's definitely in charge around here. Multinational companies
Large and in charge.
are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. What? Plant like plants?
Planets? No, plant genetic
Plant.
resources.
Like
Like
palm oil?
Like Monsanto's going in and taking seeds and manipulating those.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know enough about
I'd have
this.
to say I disagree. That they're ethical.
If you have any info on this, send it to us.
They're ethically exploiting.
I don't have enough info about it. You'd have to point me to a specific case, I guess. I'm not willing to say that multinational companies are doing this generally because I don't know enough about it.
I like that. Unethically. Do you think that people are unethically exploiting? Well, if you assume they're exploiting,
then
there
it's
seems to
unethical.
be an implication of unethicality to that.
Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity.
I would have to say I disagree with that.
With the establishment, I disagree. Yeah. Like, authority would be different, but the establishment, I disagree. Okay. Propositions on religion. Astrology accurately explains many things.
False.
I agree, but I'll say disagree for your sake.
That astrology accurately explains.
I think
many
that
things?
biologically, people who are born in certain months, there's evidence to show that like the time
of
year.
Does that have to do with astrology, or does that have to do with
biology?
Yeah, with climate or seasonal issues related to. I agree. People who, there's certain
people who are born in
defects
certain months
that go along with certain birth months.
Yeah.
Would that be the opposite in the southern hemisphere? Maybe.
Yeah. So I guess we can say strongly disagree.
It's not the stars.
You cannot be moral without being religious. Strongly disagree.
Strongly disagree. You can be moral without being religious.
Charity is better than Social Security.
True.
I mean, already agree. As a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Some people are naturally unlucky.
Disagree.
It's important that my child's school instills religious values. I mean, how do I answer that? I think it's important to me,
but your child's school is your own school. So to you, that's true.
I agree, but I'll say agree.
But do I want the public schools deciding what?
I don't want there to be public schools.
What the religious values are.
I don't want there to be public schools. I mean, I agree with this statement as it's written.
Yes. Okay, I'll agree with it too.
But obviously, like in terms of, I think this is gonna like skew our results. But whatever.
Are we at the end?
We have one more.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay, it's loading in.
My battery's getting low, so we're gonna have to breeze through these last ones.
We can plug you in.
My computer's outside. Ooh, sex. Here we go. Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral. Yeah.
Immoral? I agree with that.
A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. I agree.
I kind of agree with that, yeah.
Although I think religious institutions that
right, if Catholic Charity says we don't believe that that's as stable a marital relationship foundation for a family, then they can discriminate.
But those are private adoption agencies. They should be able to discriminate as they want to.
Right.
Even if they want to discriminate from like interracial marriages.
And
like
if some people want to say I only want to place kids with same-sex couples.
That's fine.
All right.
We disagree with all of that, but they should be able to do so.
Yeah, then the birth parents should be able to decide, well, those are the folks I want to go with.
Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. I actually have mixed feelings on this, but I'll say agree.
Okay, why do you have mixed feelings?
That's it would take way
It's a
too long to
different- it's a
explain.
different
We'll talk
thing.
about that some other day. What goes on in private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of state. Couldn't
Strongly
agree
agree.
more. No one can feel naturally homosexual.
Disagree.
These days, openness about sex has gone too far.
Disagree.
I mean, if whatever people want
Let's
to do
talk
is
about
fine.
sex, baby.
I mean, like morally, yeah, probably. Socially, probably, but like governmentally, I don't think that there should
Let's
be.
see where we stand.
Okay. Here we go.
There it
Let's
is.
see. I don't know. We're probably gonna be like
That knock on your door
authoritarian,
is
right?
Homeland Security. They've reviewed your results and
they're coming to
seems you're
get
an
us.
enemy of the state.
You seem like you're likely a gun owner, so we're coming to take it away from you. Okay, here we go. Okay, where are we? Hold on. Where are we?
Was that?
Okay, here we are. So we are libertarian right. Almost as much as it gets.
All right, is that where we want to be? Economic left, right, social libertarian.
I mean, I would like to be all the way down on libertarianism. I mean, I think that
And economically,
this is about right.
yeah, I guess that's
Economically, I'm definitely. They're just saying that the economic scale is the left and right,
good. Yeah,
then of course I'm like conservative in the sense that I don't want them to spend any money.
right.
But yeah, so I don't know. I think that's pretty
Okay.
close to reality.
Yeah,
What do you
that's
think?
that's a good place to be.
So let's see. Who I think there's like a thing. Is there?
There's
so who are
some
we
other
closest
dots
to?
there.
Well, this is Milton Friedman. We're pretty close to him.
Yeah.
That's good. I don't want to be with any of these other people, to
Stalin,
be honest.
Hitler, or Thatcher.
Or Gandhi, even.
Why not Gandhi? Gandhi's
I guess he leaned toward communism. I don't
a
know.
little left.
Yeah. So I don't know. I hope this was entertaining.
I'm probably a
I
little
guess.
more left than you are, as far as some things.
Economically, yeah. I'm pretty hardcore about like I don't want really the government spending any money at all.
Yeah.
I lean toward
But
anarchism.
that's probably about where we're at. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the political compass test.
Yeah,
and,
if you want to take this, you can find it at politicalcompass.org. I can link it in the description.
and it's got those makes those quadrants by just saying, okay, economic left and right, social liberty versus authoritarian.
Yeah.
So
I think it's pretty accurate. I don't know.
yeah.
Hopefully,
And it's probably that's probably a pretty meaningful
distinction of
yeah.
political distinction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so too.
Yeah.
So, hopefully you found this somewhat entertaining. We definitely had some good discussions, I think.
Yeah.
It brought up some issues that we're going to have to talk about more in the future.
Yeah. Well, we did end up talking pretty long.
Yeah, we're almost at an hour.
Okay.
So, thanks for joining us. And from now on, we're probably gonna be recording remotely.
Off
so
of
we'll-
Zooms.
Hopefully, I'll be
If
able to
we
figure
can.
out how to record on Zoom,
Yeah.
and that'll go smoothly. And I mean, I think we can do it.
Yeah.
One of our relatives has recorded a couple Zoom sessions and put them on YouTube. So if I need help, I can probably talk to her about it. But yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll see y'all later. Bye.